For what?
For changing your name.
No, I pressed go live and
Hey, there we go. We
Oh,
live, baby. I just seen it. It just popped up.
yeah. I was just looking so confused. All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Y'all Not Ready for That Conversation. My name is Lawrence White, and I am with.
It's your boy Chris Theodat. You already know.
and I am Ashy, I think. I'm Ariel Chanel.
Hey,
All right, we're here. We're here for another. I don't know. I wasn't. I was doing something on the fly. I wasn't ready for
Hilarious.
what. I wasn't ready for whatever I was about to say. But we got another episode.
Are you
That's the
about to
whole
be
point.
like a Doughboy? Here's another installment of.
Right, and another installment. I was gonna say installment too.
Another installment of.
Let me make sure this
uh,
baby for real asleep. Hold on.
all right. But for everyone that's not checking on their babies right now,
Did you
this
did
week's
you
episode. Huh? Wait,
give her
what?
some NyQuil?
Uh, I do not drug or condone drugging my child. My child.
All right. This
Oh,
week's episode, we're talking about pursuit. Should women pursue men? I know that it's not really so much a hot button issue or anything like that, but I thought it would be something interesting to talk about because my views recently changed. So I figured, hey, let's talk about it. I want to hear what other people got to say. Um, Even if we agree, we may agree for different reasons. So I'm curious about that. I want to know what you guys think. Those of you that are watching, um, especially the ladies, my sisters. I want to know what you guys think about this. And even if you can share some experiences, if you feel so inclined to let us indulge. So straight out the gate, and I'll start with you, Ariel, since you are the resident sister here. You're holding it down for the ladies. Remember, you got the weight of all women on your back tonight.
so I should get pick of when I go.
Nah,
Ladies first. We're gentlemen.
yeah.
I just like I'm convinced ladies first was made up by men so that they didn't have to go first and stuff. So they're like, no, you go ahead.
Well, all right. So I didn't even finish saying what I was gonna say.
There you go.
First of
Go
all,
ahead. Finish your
so
thoughts.
it's not even like I'm pushing you out into the deep end for anything crazy. I just want to know,
Mm-hmm.
from your perspective, what have you been taught, or
Ah,
what did you grow to believe about this topic?
I
See,
could
it's
talk about
something
it.
like,
Well, real light, real light. Um,
He was all scared.
yeah,
huh? No, I thought he was gonna like jump all the way in. Like,
nah. We got to
so
dip our toes in
Ariel,
first.
let us know. Tell us. I thought that's where we were going. But
Nah.
so I grew up in a Pentecostal household with a mother who is the product of a Kojic household,
Mm.
a Kojic bishop household. So, so in case anyone ever wondered where I come from, I am the grandchild of a pastor. Uh, and growing up, it was you wait until you are found. You don't go out chasing them boys. You sit down and you be found, and when you're found, then you go off and you be a wife and have children and all that jazz. And then somewhere along the line it changes from you sit down and I won't get there. I'll pause. I'll pause right there. But I grew up learning that, you know, you sit and and you wait until you are approached, kind of like the olden days. You wait till you're asked to dance, and then you dance, and if you don't get asked to dance, you go home and you come back to the next party and you see if somebody asks you to dance. So I grew up learning, being taught. Chris's face is like, what the heck? Sit and wait your turn. That's what I was taught.
All right. So I'll ask a follow-up question later. Shout out to Candace coming in early with the comment. She said, I feel women should let a guy know she's interested if she likes him, but he should leave the pursuit once given clearance. All right. Respect that. What is that what you were taught growing up as well? Or what were you taught when you were younger, either from your mother or your father, whoever? I want to know. I want to know that as well. So, Chris, what about you?
Uh, I mean, yeah, I think I was also definitely taught the man should pursue. You know, I think we all have heard 101 sermons. He who finds a good wife, and they always emphasize the he who finds
Capital H, capital E.
he because you have to find her, and when you find her, and you're like, all right, okay.
All right, so that brings up a good point that we'll get to a little bit later. I was taught that as well. You know, for those that don't know, the three of us, we all grew up in church. Ariel and I grew up in the same church. Now Ariel goes to church with Chris.
Look at that.
look at how that works.
It's the switch up.
But from our experience, pretty much most of our lives, like it's been the same thing that we've heard all over the place. You know, the man has to go out and find. The man is the pursuer. The man is the hunter, so to speak. That's they say that's how we're built. That's how we're made, and that's how it should operate. Like I said earlier, my thoughts on this have changed. And I'll look at the comments one more time before I get right into that. So Candace came back and said, "Stay away from men," is what I was taught, and my dad told me to never leave the house until I get married.
That's funny.
So I didn't have guidance in this arena.
Nobody,
It's funny,
nobody
but
did.
that's how it is.
Right. They tell you stay away from the opposite sex until you get married. Well, how I know? Is someone going to tell me I'm married? Like, how do I know?
Yeah, yeah, like that, and that's like a whole like huge part of the issue. Because I remember having a conversation with Ariel about this a while back, and we were like, you know, how is someone supposed to find you if you're not out? You know what I'm saying? How is some now you have dudes who holler at any and everyone. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say whether those are the good dudes or not, because you never know just from something like that. Because some dudes are taught go out there and get whoever you can. You know what I'm saying? Make it known. You know what I mean? But there are a lot of guys who it doesn't make them any less of a man because they don't try to holler at every girl that they see.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I don't. Maybe there's some more that needs to be talked about there. But like, if you're a young lady and you're out there and there's a guy that you're interested in, let's just say you don't know anything about this dude, but you see him, you see what he's doing, you see what he's into at that moment at least, and you want to know more. Are you really supposed to like? Are you really supposed to just sit there? You know what I'm saying?
Are you asking according to what has been taught?
Yeah. I'm staying there for right now.
Yes, the answer is yes. You wait until they make it known that they are interested in you, and if they don't make it known, then forever hold your peace, because you know.
All right, so Candace put another comment, and she added a nice point to it. She said, "So I apply the biblical teaching, but I also remember faith without works is dead." That is very true. You,
So what is the work?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know a lot of times. Well, nah, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not gonna go into that. But there's a lot. There's a lot to that scripture
Mm-hmm.
that and it's not even to give the idea that she's wrong, because I don't think she is. But it can be taken a lot of different ways, even though it says clearly what it means. Like, there's really no confusion in that. Like, faith, like, if you believe something, what are you doing to back that belief up?
So let's take all right, let's take how they found uh yeah, I like that. Now let's take how they found their wives back in the Bible days. God, I was joking about this a few weeks back, right? But it's like, yo, some guy sent his servant to go get this one woman, bring her back to his camp and village, and that was his wife.
Yeah.
Like, hey, my servant, you go talk to their servant, and tell their servant to go to their master and say, hey, I want her for my wife. It's like, so if we're looking at this from a biblical standpoint, I think we all need servants.
Are you saying we're
Yeah.
not rich enough to be spouses?
I, I think we don't fit the criteria.
I'm gonna tell my servant to go hit the streets.
Right.
Just go comb the streets, but stay out the gutter. Bring someone back.
Say that words have power. You're about to bring in a never mind.
Listen, I'm gonna get
Just
me
don't
a
do it. Just don't do it.
I'm gonna get me a butler and have my well, I'm already married, so this doesn't apply to me.
All right, get a butler and let me borrow.
Right, I'm gonna have
You gotta get your butler and have your butler go pick Marlisha up from work.
pretty much, or, or have my butler hook up with other butlers and go find some wives for my guys.
Just hit the block with the whole butler squad.
Yeah, but that was the thing, right? But in those days, the women were out somewhere, right? Like they were at the well, or they were working, like they were doing something where they could be seen, noticed, and all that good stuff. Like, where they be at now?
In the house.
Hey,
I'll say if we ask our friends, they're in the house,
Fam,
waiting to be found.
Listen, if somebody finds you in your house, isn't that a whole other problem?
Yo, that's bad creepy.
so you got delivery men who come. That's why we order Uber Eats.
Are you about to marry an Amazon driver?
Yeah.
Hey, they get paid.
Some of them be pastors working their side job.
Damn.
I stopped because that's true.
It is true. And
yo,
listen, if you're gonna find, I mean,
it takes a lot. It takes a lot to run the church. You
That's
gotta get them. You gotta get that money where you can.
especially if
Who
attendance,
you gonna meet
especially if attendance is low. You know what I mean?
on the UPS truck? Now, listen. Let me just say, I was trying to be found by a what's that?
WB Mason.
By WB Mason worker. So hey,
Yeah.
that goes into a little bit more about my thing about pursuit. But every time them deliveries came, I was right there, ready to sign off for those deliveries. Oh,
all right. Hold on, because we could go there. We can go there next, but I want to go into the comments. My brother Kyle said there isn't really any good guidance on dating in the Bible. That's likely why Uber church folk don't have words for how to handle dating talk. No scripture to throw at the conversation. That's true. I know that a lot of like over the years, there's a lot of random scriptures that are thrown out about a lot of different things. And we kind of I feel like we make things more difficult than they need to be.
Mm.
Right. And this even goes into what you were saying, Chris, when you mentioned the scripture, he who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's another scripture that doesn't say anything specifically about husbands and wives, but the way that it was broken down made it look like this was like a biblical law and principle on finding your wife, but really it was just a good interpretation of the story. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of sucked me in as well, because I liked it so much. And that was how Adam was given Eve by God. You know what I'm saying? And the whole, like, just to sum it up, they were like, Adam was working. He had a job before he had a wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was working.
Dr. Miles Monroe. I know exactly where
Is he the one that I got that from?
Dr. Miles Monroe.
I mean, he got gems. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, just as a principle,
mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to it. But to say, and I can't even say that he was saying it this way, but he was just putting it out to his congregation this way. Like, as a way of approaching life, like, this is very good. Like, it's a stable way to go about handling
mm-hmm.
this business. But the problem comes in when people say that this is God's only way to do something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so to say that every other way is wrong or out of the will of God, now you're out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? But to go back to it, he said, a man had a job before he had a wife.
Right.
And he was working, or when he was resting and God took the rib, he was working, and then God brought him to her. Mm. And then called her wife or called her woman.
Okay.
Excuse me. And like I said, like, just as an interpretation of a story, like, that's dope. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's real dope. But I mean, we can't take out of something more than what's actually there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm.
I feel that the interpretation is a little narrow.
Yes.
Because I feel that it's not so much that man was working, it's man had purpose.
Mm-hmm.
God's life. Because you can know your purpose, but not be necessarily working, whatever in that field or all this kind of stuff. But you know who you are. And there are people who are working jobs and don't know.
So, but there's a difference, right? So, like, yeah, I think there is working in, like, you were working. You weren't at your quote unquote job, mm-hmm. but you were working, and I think that does kind of denote what the purpose part is, as opposed to like your regular everyday 9 to 5, or just like not doing anything. Like when you're finding your purpose, when you found your what God has called, or when you establish what God has called you to do, and you're in that space, then you'll be in the space for your helpmate to come alongside you, or whenever you find them.
Exactly. Yeah, and that goes into another part of the conversation that I was kind of hoping to talk about, which was a conversation that the three of us had a while back. Mm-hmm. Chris, you brought this one to us. I don't know if you remember it without me saying it immediately, but before we go deeper into that, let me see. My mother is in the comments as well. She said, so it's okay for his butler to find you someone, but you don't want me to find her for you.
Hilarious.
Sorry.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
That's the best.
This is all hypothetical. I would not have Chris's butler finding me anyone. I'm not having anyone find me anyone. I'm gonna find me someone for myself. Nobody knows what I like more than me. So, so no, thank you. Mr. Candace said, "I like how Boaz and Ruth made it happen." I think a lot of people like how that happened. The Kyle came back and said, "Folks didn't date; they had a bunch of arranged situations."
And that's the truth.
Yeah, and that's another part that we have to look at. Kyle has another comment that I'm gonna get to in a second. He said, "But do you know what you need?" I have a good idea of what I need.
Oh, the butler's coming out, fam.
No, especially based on what I had.
The butler coming out.
The butler's coming out, fam.
But yeah, so the arranged situation thing, that's another part of it that we have to look at is the cultural relevance
Right.
of some of these things. All right, so Ruth and Boaz. At that time, they were considered married because they slept together. Like there was no real paperwork behind it. It was just, this is my wife now.
Right.
I can afford multiple wives. This is one of my wives. You know what I'm saying? And that was the thing.
That's
not
another
how,
conversation.
Yeah. But that's not how we move today. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you're in a state in the United States that allows polygamous marriages, you still got to do paperwork. You know what I'm saying? You still got to do what the state requires for you to do. You know what I'm saying? So the cultural relevance of how things happen is way different, today than it was then. So we can't always just use those as examples for how everything absolutely has to go from here on out.
Right.
Kyle also said he was speaking about working in purpose. Like as men, we should be pursuing what God called us to do before seeking marriage. This makes sense to me because it shows the woman the vision and direction he will be guiding their life together in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very true. Hold on. I didn't want to be coughing all out in the microphone. Um, but that, all right. So real life example, right? So when I was married, when I was still married, I had no, huh? What'd you say, Aria?
Is it you were married?
Shut up.
I never.
But I'm just using this. I'm just using this as an example, and this also goes into what I was saying about knowing what I want now. You know what I'm saying? And it also kind of goes into why I'm still single and why, even though I have dated, it's never been anything super, super serious.
Right.
So when I met my now ex-wife, it was first year of college, first time living outside of my parents' house, first time really on my own. Never really had a chance to know who I was as a person or as an individual, and what I was really into. Like, I was still kind of growing into my own. I got with her, and even before we were married, I was kind of moving like a husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything she needed, her and her daughter needed, I took care of, as much as I could. You know what I'm saying? So I took on a serious role of a husband, or at least I tried to, like, even before I knew who I was or what my purpose really was, right? Fast forward a couple of years, I'm growing in certain areas. I'm experiencing, excuse me, a few different things, like really into Christian hip hop, making a lot of friends in that space. A lot of them, you know, people that do music themselves, DJs, rappers, all that good stuff. People that put on events. I'm going out there and I'm really like into this world. And I felt like my purpose was getting to be a part of that world. But this is all happening after I've already been married. And at the time, my wife wasn't in support of what was going on in that world. And when you're married, you can't, you have to respect your spouse's wishes. You know what I'm saying? Both men and women. Like, you have to support, or you have to take their feelings and their thoughts into account when you're just doing stuff in general. You know what I'm saying? It's really just basic respect. And so I found myself in a situation where I could see my purpose and my calling was in a space that my spouse wasn't supportive of. You know what I'm saying? And it really, like, it wasn't anything like life ending or life altering, like super life altering, but there was still like that strain of, you know, my purpose over my home. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna lie, there was a few times where I was like, dang, like, I wish I gave myself more time to figure out, you know, who I was before I got here. Then I would know who really needs to be beside me in this as I move forward. You know what I'm saying? But also in those same conversations is, well, I'm here now, so I got to do what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? So, so that's why I think it's important for anyone, both men and women, to figure out at least what area your purpose is in before worrying about who you're gonna, you know, move forward with, you know, the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Because when you're dealing with spouses, you also have to look at the whole thing about being equally yoked, and that's what the conversation that Chris, Ariel, and I had, you know, a few years ago. I think it might have been like 6 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it was some time ago.
Yeah,
Don't put numbers on it.
I can't help it. Like,
it makes it so real how fast time is going. Like,
yeah. It was a good minute ago.
It definitely was like 6 or 7 years ago at this point.
So since I've been talking for a little bit, Chris, can you explain, if you remember, what it was?
Oh yeah, I mean, essentially, I mean, we've always equated being equally yoked to you know, marriage and and you know, who you should be with, and you have to be equally yoked with your partner. You have to be equally yoked with and that's not necessarily the case. Like, the equally yoked scripture speaks to people you co-labor with and you work with, because when you're yoked, you are working. Like, that was the analogy, because it also, because in Corinthians, it also does talk about how a, you know, a saved spouse does cover an unsaved spouse. And, you know, so if the wife is saved and the husband is not, then the husband is saved through the virtue of the wife being saved, and vice versa. So, like, the whole equally yoked thing has always been one of those, like, contextual things where you're like, yeah, but then when you, like, really hear it, you're like, okay. Like, it's never, like, read out. It's always just said. So, but when you, like, read it out, you're like, no, this pertains to, like, work, not necessarily, you know, marriage. Now, there is a level of wisdom you have to have when deciding who you want to be linked through covenant with. So, I mean, there is a level of there is a level of, like, hardship that happens. Okay, can your house be divided in ideals and still stand? So now, all right, you're a Christian woman and you've married a man who does not know the Lord and does not know is that something you're willing to deal with? Because the decision is ultimately yours. But by virtue of what the word says, you, by virtue of knowing the Lord and being saved, do in fact cover your spouse who is not saved.
I feel like this is just me.
Mm-hmm.
This is my opinion. This is not biblical. It's just my opinion. Um, that a lot of that teaching of like, well, get with somebody who's saved came from convenience
Mm-hmm.
more than like scriptural stuff. And I think a lot of times some things are used for convenience where we might write someone off because we're like, well, you don't go to church and speak in tongues as much as I do, so you can't be it. But I remember seeing a real life example of someone talking about how their spouse, like when they got together, they were saved, they were in the church, and their spouse knew God, loved God, but wasn't necessarily like a church goer. And so they took that as like, well, you don't go to church, so I can't be with you. But then when it got like, when somebody was like, maybe you need to like revisit what's going on. And they like were walking together, in like trying to actually court, not so much just like, oh, we just messing around. She learned that there were things that she had to learn about her own salvation from him, even though he was the one who wasn't the quote unquote saved one because he wasn't going to church like she was.
Right.
So I think sometimes we just throw stuff out there like, oh, well, you know, they got to be in the church because it's like it's easier to weed out in our minds the junk if we say like, well, they're in church, so they must be good.
Right.
Not
Yeah.
always.
I mean, but even like if you look at certain stories of even in like where a lot of the men in the Bible got their wives from, some of them weren't within
Mhm.
the belief system and the whatever. Like we know, David and his few wives, he went, he conquered, he got a new wife. Like
Yeah.
the same with Solomon. Like
Let's
he
talk about let's talk about the one we always want to talk about. Ruth was not in the faith. She
Ruth,
was a woman of another tribe,
yeah,
married to Naomi's son. Naomi's son died, and she was like, "Well, I'll go with you wherever you go.
yeah,
Your God will be my God," and that's how that happened. Like,
like just like that.
yeah,
Or even if you look at, was it Hosea chasing Gomer?
Mm-hmm.
Like she was wilding. And God put it in him to keep chasing her.
Yeah. And Candace shouted out Rahab. She was a
and
whole
Rahab,
prostitute.
a whole prostitute.
oh,
You know what I'm saying? She had the
Huh.
scarlet and all that.
Right.
and
Uh,
it's in
but
the
it's in the
lineage,
lineage of Jesus.
the
Hey,
lineage of Jesus.
I'm mad you just hit the whoa on that.
hey.
Uh, what's going on, Chris? Chris Reed, we see you.
Mm,
We see you. Thank you
what's
for
up?
for joining. All right, so I don't want to get too caught up in that conversation because that is a separate conversation that we can
Hmm?
have at another time. But I just wanted to add that to it because well, one, it was kind of alluded to with what you were saying, Chris, but it's also something to think about, like like if you're just sitting there waiting for someone to show up, and this is for the ladies, if you're just sitting there waiting, like you really have no say on what they're about as far as like the teaching is concerned. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't have a bunch of dudes coming up to you, like say you literally only have one dude coming to check on you, yet he's like a full bag of trash out in these streets, like according to this teaching, like he found you, so is he yours?
Uh,
You know what I'm saying?
no. Are
So,
you his? There's
well,
the.
yeah. I'm sorry. Gotta flip those words.
That's right. Men, manhood. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. I couldn't even say it.
Yeah, I was like,
masculine.
oh
But yeah, so
man.
Michaela asked us a question. This is for
I
I'm
wanted
sorry.
to answer or talk about what you said before going to her question, because
Yeah,
her
go
question's a
ahead.
good one.
Yeah.
But talking about, if he comes up to you, like, is that it? Because that's all you got. Um, that goes into the conversation of purpose for the woman's side.
Yeah, excuse me.
So, um, like literally, you can't walk out a vision with someone if you don't have the tools to walk out that vision with them. So therefore you need to know your purpose as well. You need to know what you're equipped for, what you're called for. Because yeah, like I know a lot of times people want to run and be this like high caliber, like, oh, I want to marry somebody and be a first lady and I want to be this and I want to be that. But do you have the tools to be that thing? Like, do you have the gifts to be that? Like, who are you? So
Mm-hmm.
um I don't believe in the whole like God said you're my wife and that's it, you take that at like face value. Like for women, like, like, was it me Tarzan, you Jane? Like that's not how it works. Like
That's
you
exactly
have
how
to
it works.
know who you are and know what's inside of you so that you could say like, okay, yes, like I can check this off. This makes sense. Because if you're telling me, now I'll use myself as an example. If you're telling me, oh, Aria, I believe you're my wife, and I'm like, that's cool. Like, what's your 5-year plan? And in that 5-year plan, traveling is never said, not once. Like going out and doing community service in the community is not mentioned, not once, and doing something, to better your community is not said. You are not it. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, so, but how would I know that if I didn't know what was important to me and what makes me who I am? So,
Because you got to drop your purpose when the man comes,
absolutely
because
not.
he is
We
accountable.
know what time Chris is on right now.
Absolutely not. Ladies,
Chris is on that wild time right now.
all ladies.
Okay, all right, because you
And
need
No.
to submit to his purpose. Hey,
Listen.
and heads up to the single fellas that are watching. Ariel is low key dropping her to-do list
yeah,
on
she gave
y'all.
you out a cheat code.
That was not what I was
Yeah,
doing.
no, you gave out the cheat code.
It's all right. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let them know.
You don't get 4 inboxes tomorrow. Like, hey, so I plan on
It's like, hey, I want to travel.
right.
I want to give some stuff to the homeless.
I think I want to go feed some stray cats.
Right. Yeah, I like giving out sandwiches.
It's like you're sitting in your home, and I found you. I found this this Facebook link.
Right.
Oh Lord.
So send all DMs to the Link Media, and I'll forward them. I'll forward them on over.
So we can vet them.
I'm not gonna vet them. I just want to laugh first.
That's why, please. This is not a request for dates. I'm just saying.
Too
You
late.
need to know yourself, ladies. Like you need to know, and yes, we're ever learning, ever growing, but you should still have some kind of basis of who you are. So that
Yeah,
way when the man comes to you, there's nothing that is surprising that's like, I never knew. Like, like what, I didn't know you didn't like the beach. Like, well, you've never seen me go to the beach, did you? Like those little things. It could be something even little as that. Like, know
yeah,
who you are.
yeah.
And if I'm gonna use someone else for an example. If somebody told Auntie Barbara, I'm gonna use her because she's faithful every week watching, that she could never go to Martha's Vineyard again because they're the husband and they said so, they and their husbandness would be sitting on a curb. All right. So
Yeah, I I can picture my mother cracking up right now at the idea of my father telling her that she can never go to Martha's Vineyard again.
It would never be a thing.
Nah,
I
it'd
would
be
be
a
like,
wrap.
Uncle, who? Uncle what?
It would be a
Right.
full wrap, a whole
That'd be
Reynolds
funny.
wrap.
It's funny. No.
All right, so before I go back up to Michaela's question, Kyle has another comment. He said that's why we all have to be walking in our own purpose. Women moving how they're called to will meet people whose purpose lines up with theirs. Yes, 100% yes. I'm pretty sure I've said that just in different words. Not tonight, just in general. So Michaela said, this is once again for Chris and I. Have you ever been pursued by a woman? If so, how did you feel? How did it work out?
Well, I didn't marry her. I say that. Yeah, there was a young lady who I felt was pursuing me. It was interesting. So without giving away too much, I mean, none of y'all know her anyway, so whatever. But it's just that, I think the way she did it was kind of weird in that, like, she kind of just popped up on me, like, at my home. I was like, oh, hey, okay.
Oh, wow.
Your home though? See, that goes into the whole like.
Because I'm like, if a dude would have did that, but all right, whatever. And me being this is all me looking back. In hindsight, it was all weird. But me looking back, I was like, oh shoot, it was strange, but don't come here unannounced again. It was very bold.
Don't come here unannounced ever again.
Don't come here unannounced ever again. But all right, was like, and you can kind of like, well, as if just popping up to my house, out of the clear blue sky wasn't an indication. There are other signs that this thing is not going to work. So yeah, so that was one, and it was quite weird. Were there others? Probably, but like, nothing came of those.
Yeah, I think it kind of falls into the question of what do you consider pursuit to actually be. You know what I'm saying? Because there have been a couple of times where a young lady has let it be known that she was into me.
Right.
And whether I was into her or not, because of my social awkwardness and my anxieties, like, I definitely shut it down without saying anything. Like, if you ever want to know how to ghost somebody while still being in their presence, I could probably teach that class.
And just for clarity, right? Are we saying are we saying pursuit as in like hit on, or pursuit as in like was really trying to make something happen?
Well, see, that's why I was saying, like, what.
There's different, like, what people think is pursuit.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just saying. All right. So yeah, I'll just look at both of them, because if this is what I did in situations where the young woman wasn't even being very aggressive, you can only imagine how quickly I disappeared when they were being aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I don't want this to become like a Lawrence therapy session, like every week. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some things.
This is a safe space, Lawrence.
I know it's a safe space, but I don't want to keep putting all of this on y'all. Like,
you can only share from what you know.
Yes.
I just told people that if they don't like to travel and help their community, I don't want them. Like, what was it? I can't use anything else.
She did just do the dating game on Zoom just now.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But she
It was
doesn't
to
do
make
that
up
every
for.
week.
You said what? What'd you say?
Who?
You
What did you just say?
so it's been like every week.
No, I said she hasn't been doing it every week. This
Oh,
was the
that's what
first time.
that's what I thought too. I was supposed to be like,
No, no, no.
yeah.
No. I was just saying, I was saying that I just feel like I overshare.
See, Anthony thought the same thing. He's like every week.
Yeah, I don't like feeling like I'm oversharing because you all are not my therapist. I don't have a therapist. I need one, so I won't overshare with you guys. Um, but
Unless we say no, then it's fine.
Michaela said was really trying to make something happen. So that's I guess giving like more clarifying
Clarity. Yeah.
to the question. Um, yeah, so I think in my situations, because you can tell the difference between flirting and like really trying to make something happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've flirt. I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Um, but flirting does a lot of times lead to other things. Nothing crazy, but it does lead to like
It's a gateway drug.
yeah, like like if you like the energy, you're gonna want to keep it going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm sorry, I'm playing out some stuff in my head.
Oh no.
But yeah, like so in situations where a young woman would be like more aggressive than I'm comfortable with, I would definitely kind of just fall back. But there were other times when I wasn't interested, and same thing happened. Like, I mean, it just kind of didn't. It kind of just didn't come up to anything. I think there was one time when I was in college where I actually had a conversation with the young lady, and she was low key aggressive. I mean, she wasn't like snatching me up or nothing, but she was low key aggressive,
She's putting you
and
over her shoulder.
yeah, like she didn't put me in a headlock or nothing. But my brother said Lawrence the spirit filled teddy bear.
Hilarious.
That's mad funny. Um, but yeah, I think that answers your question. Um, Kyle said Ariel was ready to throw hands for a second. Oh, for a second. For some reason, I read it as for a second date. I was about to say fighting for a second date is hilarious.
That is funny.
All right, Michaela has another question. She said, Ariel, have you pursued a man, aka really tried to make something happen? How did it go?
I'm single, so that would be how anything went. No, I'm just joking, Kayla. I'm just joking. I no, like really try to make something happen. No, but that's because I'm very new to my new line of thinking with pursuit. Um, like all of 2020 new, like this is a new walk for me. So anything before that, like anything before this year, I absolutely not. Like I am trash. If you know me for real. Like if Vanessa was here, Lawrence can attest. Like I am me no good. Like words no work when it comes to the opposite sex for me. So like I'll be like peanut butter. No, oh, okay, never mind. Like I don't know how to talk to guys. So pursuit, nah, it doesn't. It's not a thing.
Hilarious.
I'm really good at conversations with my friends, but when it comes to like, I like this person and I'm gonna like try to make something happen, it's not a thing. I am like, I'm pretty sure there's probably like 20 billion guys who would be like, oh, I never knew. I'm like, exactly, because I'm not good at it. Like, I'm the like, run away. Michelle has said the way I'm yelling at my computer right now because she knows. Like, I am really bad at it.
It's me like you. You like me?
I miss cues when they come and I don't know how to give them. So
Oh yeah, so you saying that reminded me also that I'm very oblivious in general. So there are times where Ariel would have to let me know after the fact that somebody was dropping hints, and I did not catch one of them.
they
Oh,
would be
that's interesting.
seconds from here's my number, and he'd be like,
I
No
don't
one's
need
ever no one's ever blatantly said, "Here's my number."
because you were probably like, I don't need this.
yeah,
Yeah, because I probably went into a full conversation about how I don't like talking on the phone.
take this back. No,
All
I
right,
am.
so Chris, sorry, for Chris and myself, Anthony asked a question. He said, "Can you define falling back? Does this mean you ghosted them or had a talk with them saying it wasn't going to work out?"
Oh, for my quote unquote pursuer, I kept it up. I was like, I was like, we're not on the same page, and I think that we should not see each other. It was pretty mutual.
Yeah, I think for me it was I've done both. Honestly, I hate I hate the fact that I have ghosted,
Yeah,
but I'm also aware of my shortcomings. So not making any excuse for it, but I'd I'd be a liar if I said I didn't do it.
yeah.
So it's happened both ways.
I mean, I think yeah, I definitely have ghosted a couple people before. I mean, everyone's done it. Everyone's like not answered the phone ever again for a number. Like
Yeah,
sometimes you don't want the trouble. Okay.
yeah. Let me see. Shout out to Janine. I see you. I see your comment here. She said, honestly, no woman who knows her real value and how much of a gift she is wants the task of pursuing a man if there isn't a mutual interest. Why even waste your time? It really can be that simple. Yeah, that's very true. I think on the opposite end of that, you know, because men are taught to pursue, what ends up happening is if if the communication between the two is difficult for whatever reason, it can come off like the woman isn't receptive to the man, which would make him fall back even more. You know what I'm saying? Am I making any sense?
Mm.
Um, yeah. So
So
it just causes confusion. But yeah, you was about to say something, Chris?
so I guess my question is, I don't know if we want to go here yet, but as it pertains to pursuing,
Mhm.
because and it's funny, right? Because like we're in this internet era and then in this social media era, and everything is very opinion based and very it's just all over the place, right? So I guess my question is, and this is why I'm glad I'm out the game, but like so when a man is pursuing, what constitutes pursuing, and not when does it cross the line, because there are some very clear but like at what point it is like, all right, what is the line between persistent and too much?
When I say no and you keep coming, that is the line. When
So
I give you a full no, and
so
what?
we know situations where the no was respected, but the no really meant no, you wasn't going hard enough.
And there's there's issues with that. I have issues
Mhm.
with that. And I'm just like, if I politely tell you I am not interested in you, thank you very much, have a nice day, then that's that.
But
I
God's
think that,
promises are yes and amen. So let me tell you something, sister.
oh God,
This
well,
no you're telling me right now.
this is no, this is not a when Jesus say yes situation. Okay. Like,
Mm,
and I think that the thing
but
is,
but what the doors
oh,
God has opened, no man can close. And I feel like,
yeah.
I'm sensing in my spirit that a door has opened and you're trying to close it, and I don't believe that that's of
You're
God.
sensing
Yo, so,
a spirit,
yo, so this
try the spirit.
I'm dying over here because this reminds me of a conversation I had with a young man who I'm not going to name. And I had to have this conversation with him because he was trying to approach, well, not trying to, he was, he was overly approaching one of my cousins more than a little bit.
Mm.
And she had already told him no a few times. And then when she found out that I knew him, she was like, yo, I need you to talk to this dude and tell him to stop. And so I hit him up, you know what I'm saying? Because this is family. Like, this isn't, uh, friend cousin.
Right.
This is family, you know what I'm saying? And she asked me to tell him to stop. So I had to. So I hit him up and I was like, fam, you got to relax. I mind my business, but she asked me to do this. So I'm just letting you know respectfully, she declines all of your advances. Just stop. This dude really had the nerve. He had the nerve to tell me, well, your father said if it's something that I really want, I got to go after it. I can't take no for an answer.
That's right.
No,
Listen,
You go for
listen,
yours, homeboy.
listen. I had to tell him, take that advice if you want, but I'm only going to tell you this once. If I have to come see you, I will come see you.
no.
I think at that point, it's way beyond the line of pursuit. It's just delusion, and you gotta relax. You have to relax.
No. But I prayed about this clearly, and though you may be a
Listen,
snare in my way, you will not stop me from getting what I am called to get.
No.
I'll say it like this. This is how I think about stuff like that.
Mhm.
And it's like white people using the N-word. Do whatever you're big and bold enough to do. But don't be surprised when you get your butt whooped.
Listen, enemies on all sides of me.
Listen, Candace got it. She said, take that advice if you want, but there are consequences. Big and bold. You
Oh
can
wow!
come through. When you get your butt whooped.
Whoa,
Yeah.
my
Wait,
phone liked that part. It just won't stop.
I was like, wait, what's going on? Why am I hearing twice? No.
It said run that back. You will
Yeah.
get your butt whooped. That's what it.
Yeah. We needed that in the atmosphere.
Okay.
Oh,
Um,
oh
all
man.
right, hold on. I think there was another question, or there was another. Um, oh yeah. So Chris Reed said, "Man's job is to pursue. Woman's job is to let him know if there's interest there."
And then you got to pursue until there's interest there. Come on now.
No.
No,
I think that
no, just stop.
it's interesting that Chris said that, and I wonder if it's too early to go here for
Well,
my
just based on time, I want to start heading here, so we
okay.
can do this.
So my definition of pursuit, and the way I see pursuit now, and you know, Chris saying that it's a man's job to pursue, and a woman's job to let him know that there's interest there. Um, okay. I said I was gonna try to figure out how to say these,
Mhm.
how to say my words clearly. Um, I think the thing that I've been looking at most is what is said in the Word of God. Like, what is in the Word that we can use to see, how we should move about life. And there are two instances that I was looking at that helped me to look at pursuit. So first, um, the definition of pursuit or to pursue is to follow something in order to, and this is, they use animal terms, but to follow something in order to catch or attack it.
Mm,
Um, and so, to follow something to to catch, to obtain that thing.
yes.
And so when we look at scripture, there is a point that shows pursuit on a woman's side. And we talk about it all the time, but we talk about it kind of backwards. And it is Ruth's story with Boaz. And if you look at the story, it starts off, there's many levels. There's accountability, there's like, it's everything about a healthy relationship that you should have. So first off, when we talk about pursuing and keep going, and if somebody says no, you should have a team with you letting you know if something is a good idea or not. Like, you should never just be doing something on your own. You should have people that hold you accountable for everything. So, like Lauren said, telling the brother, like, you about to get,
You got to chill, fam.
yeah, like, you're about to experience the palm of God. Like, you're about to get that. Um, everyone needs that. But in this instance, because she had that accountability of like, okay, I'm going to show you what to do, she was taught to go where Boaz was. There was multiple times where she was where Boaz was. Why? Because Boaz was the intended target. Like, the goal is, you are going to be this man's wife. Like, he is the kinsman redeemer. Like, he's the prize. This is what we're going after. So therefore, your purpose now, so going back to purpose, is to be in his field, to be at his this, to be at his that, so that way you can be seen by this man. So now she's there. Her purpose of being there is solely to be seen by him. So then he sees her and he's like, who is this? Who is she? So it gets the ball rolling. So therefore, and we won't go into the rest of their story, because we will talk about the feats and all that stuff. We ain't gonna talk about that today. But everything that she did, like Chris said, was throwing that line out there saying, hey, like, giving off those signals, I want to know you and you need to know me. So we're taking that, putting a pause on that for a second. Then um we go to um the Bible, where it talks about a husband and a wife, and how a husband is to a wife as Christ is to the church. So our relationships with the husband and wife is mirroring that of Christ in the church. Well, what is the bride supposed to do when it comes to the relationship? We're supposed to be the ones who are pursuing that relationship, like seeking out that relationship with God, not in the way of like hey, like, I'm letting you know you need to be with me, but it's I'm going to do whatever I can to be in your presence, to let you know that I want to know more about you and I'm seeking more of a relationship from you. So when it comes to pursuit on a woman's side, a woman has to, when she is, in a proper place, in the place of, it's not just with anybody. This is not like you're doing this with everybody. I believe pursuit is a very, um, it's very specific and sacred. Like, I don't think anybody should just be pursuing anything. And I think that's the first misconception that we need to break down. We don't just need to be running here and there for anything.
Fact.
But when it comes to, who or what, so this is all coming under prayer and everything else. Like, when it's revealed who that person is. You need to be positioned in the place to get to know that person, to really let them know that there is interest that I have in you. So that is a woman's side of pursuit. It's not the same as saying, hey, do you want to go out for coffee? But it's clearly making it known that I am here trying to get to know who you are because I believe there's something there.
That's right.
That's my take on it. And I think that it's just a bad teaching of the word pursuit because literally, again, going to the definition, it's following something in order to catch it. So therefore, going back to when the guys were saying, how can women be found if they ain't nowhere to be found? It's that,
Mhm.
putting yourself in the place to be seen. That's our end of the bar. It's reciprocity. There's a level of give and take that has to happen. So a woman has to put herself in the place to be
To be
able to
found.
and be like, yeah, I was right. She's the one.
Yeah. Well said. Excuse me. Chris said Ruth didn't pursue him. She made herself known and showed that she was available. Boaz still had to pursue.
Right.
In that story specifically, Boaz really didn't do anything outside of what he was already doing. He didn't pursue anything. Um,
Hmm.
and I just realized the way that I'm saying this might come off kind of harsh, um, which is unintentional. But so Ruth may not have been out in the field looking for Boaz and then running up to Boaz being like, yo, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So but what she did was still pursuit.
Mm-hmm.
She was there for, like, just like Ariel was saying, she was there for the purpose of being seen by Boaz because, and she was put there by Naomi because Naomi knew how he would react. You know what I'm saying? She knew what he would do. So she told Ruth to be in position and what to do while she was there. You know what I'm saying? She was strategically, um
Placed.
like, yeah, she was more than just strategically placed, but this is like a series of events.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? A short series of events as we know it, but this is a series of events that she is actively engaging in for an expected outcome.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she was there so she could be seen. He saw her, asked about her, didn't even ask her. He asked the squad. He was like, "Yo, who this?" He was like, "Oh, she came through with your cousin." He's like, "All right." Next day, Ruth is at his room. She comes into his room. She gets at his feet. You know what I'm saying? Like, so without going into those details, like there's still a level of pursuit that she had to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, and this doesn't make anything, or this doesn't take away from a woman's value.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like it actually enhances your value, to know, to not only know what you want, but to go after what you want. You know what I'm saying? To have that agency about yourself, to to really just go after what you want.
Yeah.
Now with anything, one thing that we can't do is look at this only from our perspective, um as us finding something. You know what I'm saying? In any scenario, this is two people, and whenever you have two people, the amount of variables in a situation is going to be astronomical. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to deal with not only, and we'll just use ourselves, like, you not only have to deal with yourself and how you go about things, but you have no way of knowing how they're going to respond, what they are looking for, like what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can't put anything in a concrete box and be like, this is absolutely the only way that it can go, or else it's not right. You know what I'm saying? Because then you are going to really miss out on some dope opportunities just in general. Um, there was something else I wanted to add to that, but I forgot what it was. Let me see.
Not, I don't know if I know well, I guess I'll read some of these comments. Because
Hmm.
Kyle said she was making some plans and making moves for what she wanted.
Hmm.
Um, which again, and I believe that that fits strongly with pursuit. You know,
Yeah.
you're going after the end goal is to gain something.
Right. And you're putting yourself
Putting
in those positions to get that thing.
get what you want. And
Hmm.
so oh, safe travels,
Hey,
Candace.
safe travels. Safe travels.
Oh yeah,
Um
definitely safe travels.
and um also Janine said she positioned herself to be found.
Mhm.
And Michaela, I see your comment about the back and forth about Ruth and Boaz. There's a lot of back and forth. But I believe, and I don't know if you wanted to go here yet, Lawrence, but I think the thing that we kind of get caught up on when talking about pursuit is the whole process of, you know, becoming a wife or becoming a husband. And there's the difference between like the pursuit part and the proposal part.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, hold on to that
Yeah,
for a
so
second,
we'll get there. But that's why I was like, I
because
don't
that
want to go here, but it's I
yeah
think that
that was a question that I came up with today when when thinking about this topic. Um, so before we go there, I
mhm.
want to go back to this scripture that Chris brought up earlier about he that finds a wife finds a good thing, right? Um, so I remember hearing this a while back, but I needed to look it up for myself because I didn't want to. Excuse me. I didn't want to come on here and share something that was potentially wrong, like
Right.
completely wrong, right? And it was the fact that um, find in the Hebrew is not exactly what we think it is, which happens a lot. You know, when you're dealing, and I've said this before on past episodes, but when you're dealing with the English language, and I like to call it the American language,
Right.
um, when you're dealing with the American language, you're really dealing with like basic words that mean a bunch of different things, but we usually take one meaning and keep that as the forefront. So whenever you see this word, this is exactly what it means, right? So so using the word find, it's more of, we see it more of as it was missing or it was lost and then we found it.
Right.
It was hidden and we uncovered it. Um, but what the word that was used originally, I should have written it down. I should have kept the book next to me when I looked it up. But it means to acquire.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So to acquire something, it doesn't necessarily mean that something was hidden. It could be that it was hidden and you uncovered it and now you found it, you acquired it. But it also means that it was there on full display.
Right.
You know, you knew exactly what it was. You knew you wanted it. So now you have it. You acquired it. It's now in your possession. You know what I'm saying? So the scripture is less of how you get something, but it's just the fact that you have it. You know what I'm saying? Whereas because the scripture is used a lot of times for like this conversation, you know, and talking about, you know, women, you want to be found, but they don't tell you anything else. Like, men, you got to go out there and find her. Like there's really not much else to that conversation where it's more so we should be looking at, for those like Chris, for instance, he's already married. he's found his good thing. He has it like she has his name.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? He's obtained favor. That's the point.
And
The
I'm
point.
pretty sure Merlisha wasn't like a Pokemon who he had to go out and find and throw a Pokeball at to catch. Like,
You know, you set me up for a great line of jokes.
Me too.
just saying.
I choose you.
But but yeah, like so like we take the emphasis, or we look at the emphasis on the wrong part, just for, and it's not, I won't put it on ourselves. This is how we've been taught. This is what was given to us. Um, so we've been given this perspective based on, I mean, whatever. I can't put a reason behind it. You know what I'm saying?
I
People
mean,
do
that's
stuff
what
because they do stuff. But also, real quick,
Mhm.
Chris. Another thing, because I think Chris Reed said this earlier, or somebody said it earlier, and I wanted to bring this up as well. Um, I think he said, I don't know if he just said it's the man's job to pursue.
Yeah.
Um,
Man's job is to pursue, woman's job is to let him know if there's an interest there.
yeah. So the thing about what a person's job is, we have to look at why we think that's the case. And I know, and I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I know that a lot of it comes from this idea of men are hunters. You know, we go out, we kill the animal, we bring it home. Like that's how it was in the cave person days. We have no basis for that. We have nothing that shows that that was the proof, because that same line of thinking also goes to, men are the protectors, they are the soldiers, they're the ones that go out to war, and in a lot of cases that's true, based on what we've learned over the past few hundred years. But just because we saw most of the stories about men doing these things, it doesn't mean that women weren't doing these things as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I can't remember, um, and this is just talking about the soldier thing. I can't remember where exactly it was in Africa. Excuse me, but there's a woman who was the leader of a tribe, and she's the only person in history that was able to defend her area from Alexander the Great.
Hmm.
Alexander the Great was going through Europe just sacking dudes, like taking over mad territories. He came down to Africa and she stopped him. And she only had one eye. You know what I'm saying? Like this was a woman that did that. Even in the Bible, we have women that were judges, like they ruled Israel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Um,
And I to add to
mhm.
that as well, since you were talking about it, um, I really do believe it's a Western world thing, and it's cultural, because there are some places where women are the ones who choose the husband. Like,
Yeah,
it's not, and there's like rituals and dances that the men do to be chosen. Um, but in the end, it's the woman who's like, no, yeah, I'll go with you.
That's a good
and
point.
the idea that, in prehistoric times this is how it was. Like we can't keep throwing that out there because we have no proof. I'm pretty sure.
And we're not prehistoric.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that people did whatever they had to do to survive. You know what I'm saying? If a woman was pregnant but she was still able to move around and function, I'm pretty sure she was still killing, like she was still hunting too. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're surviving, you don't have time for gender roles. You know what I'm saying? It's get it done. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a man's job to hunt completely. You know what I'm saying? Now don't get me wrong, because of where we are today, in society, like that's just one job that has to be done. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not doing that job, you better be doing something else. You know what I'm saying? But what it comes down to is what I was saying earlier about, dealing with or two people dealing with each other and the variables that come with that. You have to do what makes sense for you and your situation and your family. You know what I'm saying? Like like if you chase someone else's view of a healthy relationship, you're just gonna ruin yours. You're just gonna make yours worse.
Yeah, because you're comparing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because those people aren't you and your spouse. They're not you and your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. Like you have to live your life. You know what I'm saying? You have to do what's best for you. You know what I'm saying? And don't don't think that I'm saying let's see, Gideon Wells said ancient remains found in Peru confirm women were big game hunters. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Because I be forgetting details like that. But yeah, like we can't keep getting hung up about what other people think we should be doing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You gotta do what you gotta do. And I think I feel like we're kind of not really staying on topic, even though all of this is still good. Well, Chris, I had
It was
cut you
tied
off. I'm
in.
sorry.
It was
What'd
tied
you
in.
say?
It was
It
tied
was
in.
tight in, yeah.
Okay.
What was I gonna say? I forgot.
My bad.
No, it's all good.
Um Ariel, you had brought up something else and then I had
Yes.
brought it
What
back.
Michaela said. She said she was wondering if we were going to talk about women proposing and women proposal.
Oh yeah.
And
That
having the
was the question.
conversation
That
of
was the
the
question.
difference between pursuit and proposal.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
is where I think, and that's what, so even with what Chris was saying, where he was talking about, um, that Boaz was the one who had to pursue, Boaz was the one who set the proposal in motion. So he did everything he had to do. He got all of his ducks in a row to make her his wife. So
Hmm.
he
right.
did the process of, making sure nobody else had claim to her, making sure, you know, all
All the paperwork was right.
yeah, all the paperwork was right.
He checked the Carfax.
Oh no, not the Carfax. But he did all of that to then, make
Excuse
her
me.
his wife, as Lauren said. He did all of the proper steps of a
Mhm.
proposal. And so I believe that is, I know some women want to do that themselves, but I believe that is the man's job, that it is his job to make sure that all of the ducks in the row, and that's only because he still is the head of the household. So, he is the head of the family, the visionary, the priest, whatever, the saying they always say about what a husband is.
Oh yeah.
He's all that. So in that, I believe that it is his role to make sure that all of that stuff is in line. I believe that God graces men a certain way to be able to see some of the things when saying like, yes, this is the one that I'm going to propose to. That we as women don't, because I will be the first to say we can see marriage on day one. Like we're like pushing babies, cooking meals. I could do it. Like if you look right, I got it. So there's certain emotional things that like, I feel most women that I have seen, I'll put it like that. Most women that I have seen, it usually is an emotional play that causes them to propose. So like, but we love each other. Why not? Like, don't you love me? Don't you want to be with me forever? Where a man, it's like a lot of, again, those practicalities, like going down that, yes, like I could see X, Y, and Z. And you all can correct me because I'm not a man, so you could say yay or nay. But I believe that is why God has it where that is the fact. I also believe that, and this is just a little, uh, sorry, I just saw Chris's comment about did Boaz drop a prenup.
I mean, if you ain't no punk, call it we want.
And so I believe that there is something beautiful about a man proposing to a woman, because again, I think it goes in line with um that that view of, you know, our relationship with the father,
Right.
and how we were chosen by the father, like we were selected, we were purchased like with a price, and we in turn like gained his name, which gave us his legacy, like his glory, all of that. Like we were able to take that on, and it's a beautiful exchange. And so I feel that, you know, when we rush to try to do it the other way, like it usually ends up being messy,
Yeah.
because there is something about that, you know, a man being like, I've checked all the boxes, like I've paid all that I need to pay to make you my wife, like to take you on as my bride. Um, it's very, it's a very symbolic thing. Like the marriage relationship is very symbolic of our relationship with the Father, and so why take that away?
Yeah. I so the question came to my mind earlier, because like I said, or maybe I didn't say this on here, but I said it between the three of us before. Like a week ago, I probably would have said the exact same thing that Chris was saying earlier. Chris Reed was saying earlier about it being a man's job to pursue. Um, but within the past few days, I had seen or I had heard someone say something on a TV show that I was watching. If you're my Facebook friend, excuse me, you may have seen me post this last Friday or so. But someone's response to what was on TV made me think about this. Um, and based on that, my thought became, well, if it's okay for a woman to pursue, what is the difference between a woman proposing? And so the only thing that I have for that right now is I'm not going to say whether something is right or wrong for anyone else,
Right.
but for me, I'm never going to be I'm never going to be okay with that for myself. Um, and the reason behind that is because one, if just who I am as a person, like if I don't see myself, and this isn't like an immediate thing, but if I'm dating someone and I see a future with them, um, like a marriage, like in the future, I have no problem talking about that. Because I don't feel like everything needs to be such a surprise. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really all about um just kind of keeping things where they are. You know what I'm saying? So the conversation would more so be um that, I can't see us getting married, but just not right now. You know what I'm saying? And if she is cool with that, then word, we keep doing things as we need to do it. If she's not cool with that, then we can talk about that.
Is that after a proposal?
No, I'm saying before a proposal.
Oh,
If I'm proposing, that means I'm ready to start planning the marriage. Like, I'm sorry, not the marriage, but planning the wedding.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Um,
It's something else that I've seen too a lot of the times is when it is a woman that does the proposing. Now I know there are cultures where they have like in Ireland, if it's a leap year, a woman can propose to a man. Like it's a thing. Like
all
that's
year or just a day?
huh? No, on the day. that day a woman can propose to a man, but that's it. That's all you get. You get one day every 4 years. So like I know culturally that's a thing, but um we'll use Chrissy and Jim Jones for an
Mm.
example. They've been together for years.
Yeah.
Years. And Jim's response has always been like, what we need to get married for? But that was something that Chrissy really wanted. So for her, she, at this big event, oh, thank you, Auntie Barbara. It's called Sadie Hawkins Day. That's the one I'm
Oh,
talking.
I heard about Sadie Hawkins
Sadie Hawkins.
answers, but I didn't know that was
When the woman gets to ask. So but you know, Chrissy proposes to Jim, and guess who is still not married to Jim? Like,
Hilarious.
you said what?
they're not married.
So hilarious.
No,
Wait, did they ever get married? Or you said they're not? Did they get married in our divorce, or did they just never get married?
they haven't. As far as we know, they have not gotten married. They ain't no wedding.
Oh.
But Jim, you know, from the show, which is kind of true because they're not married in real life. They're still just partners. But after that proposal, it showed him being like, why?
Like, what is this?
Like, why? And a lot of it is, you know, again, it comes from those societal pressures that a woman is to be married, and that if a woman is with a man, then they need to get married. And like, why aren't you marrying me? Why aren't you making me a wife? And all that kind of stuff. But um, it goes down to communication and talking, because after all those years, you should know whether that man wants to marry you or not. Like,
True.
and it's not even just you. Like, you should know whether marriage is something that's important to them. Because if marriage is important, again, going back to your purpose and knowing who you are, if marriage is something that's not on the menu for them, but it is for you, then you need to respectfully say, this isn't it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me go back up. Janine said earlier, we all have free will for a reason. Know what works for you.
Right.
100% facts.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle said, I think sometimes when we look at I think sometimes when we look at expectations of relationships in the Bible, we reflect on it from a place of hurt based on wrong relationships we have had. Yes. I think we do that with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can really only understand things from our own perspective, and our perspective is usually shaped by our experiences, and I think our negative experiences ring louder in our heads than anything else. You know what I'm saying? um, which is why it's important to have the Holy Spirit in your life, because he will illuminate things, especially in the Bible, but just in life, he will illuminate things and make things clear to us, from perspectives that we don't have, and it gives us something to, kind of look deeper into, and really explore for ourselves, so that we can grow, from it, which is something that I hope continues to happen with us through this podcast. Um, when the Holy Spirit, kind of shows us things, and whether it's things about ourselves or things about our current situation, like as people, it gives us something to talk about and something to explore as a group, so that we can grow together. Like, it does nothing for you if I'm over here growing all by myself and not sharing what's growing me. You know what I mean? And then also, I have to share what I'm taking in, because you guys have perspectives that I don't have. So you help me see things about what I'm thinking about or learning about, that will help me kind of keep it in its right place. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, there's still more that I want to talk about, but the time trying to make sure that we don't go over time every single week now. but but yeah, I feel like we still got a lot out. Um, so in in y'all's opinion, and I'll go to Chris first, so Ariel doesn't think I'm picking on her. Chris, in your opinion, what do you think?
Hmm. Wait, before you go, there's a
Mhm.
comment.
What's
Um,
up?
and sorry for those who can't see this comment. There's a side comment box on the side.
Oh,
Um, but the comment came in from Auntie Barbara, and she said you could look at the Obamas. She wanted to get married, but he didn't think it was necessary. However, he agreed because it was important to her and he loved her, and they've had a successful relationship. So the question is, what do you really want, and what are you willing to do to make it happen?
My mother is very smart. Like I think that really boils down. I think that really boils down the whole thing. For in my opinion, because like how Candace dropped in earlier and said faith without works is dead. Like if you believe that or if you're believing God for something, what are you doing to make that happen? You know what I'm saying? Or at least what are you doing to make room for it?
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that probably comes off better. Um but like if I'm believing God for a really good paying job, but I don't put in the application, how can I expect to have it?
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm expecting God to provide for me a wife, but I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing in my own life to be ready for that, how can I expect that to happen, or at least um, in the best way possible for it to happen for me? You know what I mean? Like I'm of the belief that if there is something that you want, you don't have to be overboard about it. You don't have to force anything, but you can go after what you want. You know what I mean? And that is especially for this topic, like for the ladies. Like if if you are ready to be in a relationship and there is someone that is available for a relationship, meaning that they're single, you're not going after someone else's man.
Mhm.
Like I don't think there's anything wrong with you letting it be known. You know what I'm saying? Just as another like side, there's been plenty of times, me as a man, like I've let a woman know that I was interested in them, but because I was so anxious in other areas of my life, I never really showed them with my actions that I was interested. So when I came with the words, they were like, "Wait, what?" They're like, "What? What? How?" I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? And it just made things weird. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm saying like it there's a lot of layers to it. There's a lot of things about it just in general that we have to keep in mind. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman letting someone know that they're interested. But guys, we have to be honest with ourselves and with them. Like, so if we're not interested, we got to let them know, so we're
Right.
not wasting their time. You know what I'm saying? And don't just like just because a woman lets you know that she's interested doesn't mean you have to now accept her and and be like, okay, well, I guess now you're my girlfriend. Like, no, if you're not interested, just let her know. Um,
No is a whole. It's a whole sentence.
Complete sentence,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, but that's rude.
No, it's only rude because we've been taught to say
Right.
it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's
It's not
definitely not
rude
rude.
because you know who says no. God says no.
Mm,
God do be saying no.
Mm-hmm.
He'll say no and then just look at you when you ask again.
That's
right.
it.
He used to
And
be
God
there.
is not rude. He is loving and kind and just. So
He be cutting us.
no is a whole sentence.
Real quick, Gideon Weld said, woman proposes, there's divorce. Man proposes, there's divorce. Marriage and its journey is more valuable than a proposal. Just my opinion. A woman was pharaoh. A woman is queen, president, all that and more. She is equal in all. Uh, Equal in all. Just my feeling. Yeah, I agree. Divorce happens all the time from both sides. Nobody's perfect. Nobody does the right thing
Absolutely.
all the time. People do stupid stuff and fall backwards into a healthy marriage. So whatever.
What?
Whatever. People be dumb. You know what I'm saying?
And then it just
Like, and maybe all right, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. But I'm just saying, like, so doing things the right way has always been important to me,
mm-hmm.
right? So I've, especially like as a Christian, like, yeah, as a young Christian, like, I wanted to make sure that I proved my uh, faith or my belief by my actions. So there was a lot of stuff I didn't allow myself to do. There was a lot of places I didn't allow myself to go, only because I felt like people wouldn't see me as a believer anymore. You know what I'm saying? And fast forward to where I am in life now, some other people who just live life by the seat of their pants and just did whatever they want, they're still just as saved as I am. You know what I'm saying? They're still happy. God is still blessing them. You know what I mean? So that's that. Did you guys want to say anything? Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, I think I can agree in some aspects. Do what God has called you to do,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just don't overstep it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't overstep. Ariel.
Men, if you see me in your DMs, report it because it's not me. So that's it. That's all I gotta say.
That's a fake
I
profile.
I did not expect that.
It's a fake page.
That's
I
It's
did
not.
not expect that thought going that way.
it's Ariel Chanel, and in parentheses, real page, and not a
Yeah,
scam.
not a
Yeah.
scam.
I really thought she was about to be like, yeah, if you see me in your DMs, just know I'm pursuing.
Right, it's about to
She
go
was like, nope.
down.
She said, nope. All right, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Please
Yeah.
stay safe. Um, we love you guys. We'll be back next week with another episode. If you guys have any other thoughts or any other comments, if you're watching a replay of this and you still want to share your thoughts, please put them in the comments below. We still look at them, we still read them, and we will reply to them. Once again, Kingdom Life merchandise is available at the link-media.com. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.